Did you allow?
Yep.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Lynn Charles, and I'm here for 4Point. And I'm doing my series of interviews about point work, point technique, issues with point and viewpoints on point and point dancing. And today I'm here with a dear friend, and he was a wonderful dancer, and he's presently the director of the San Francisco Ballet School and in charge of the apprentice program. And his name is Patrik Armand, and I would like you all to say hi to him. Hi, Patrik.
Hello.
So could you just tell everybody, you're from France. Actually, I met you in France, where you're from and where you made most of your career.
Originally, I'm from Marseille, but I'm mostly dancing in England and in the States. I'm in Boston and London.
You dance with English National Ballet?
Yep. I mean, actually, even London Festival Ballet. Before it was English National Ballet, I did both.
Yes. And after you retired, then you decided to go into teaching. Your mom
I decided to go into teaching much earlier than my retirement.
Because your mom was a very well-known, wonderful teacher.
Yeah, and so I've been really facing the teaching since I was a little kid, and I always it was always in my mind that eventually I wanted to teach. And till the day of today, that's my favorite things to do.
And the very first class I ever taught was in your mom's school.
You see?
Yes. So the circle is full.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, as a male dancer, when you danced with, you had the opportunity to dance with so many amazing ballerinas like Elisabetta Terabas, Trinidad Savoiano, Jeanette Mulligan,
Eva Evdokimova, yourself.
Oh God. Yes, I can't even think of all of them. And how was it for you? I mean, you were someone who was also really impressed by how ballerinas spoke with their feet.
Yeah, I do believe that footwork is a really important part of the art form. Not that you've got to just stay there, but you need to be able to talk with your feet when you dance. And I think it's really important. And it's the articulation and it's the quality of the work, because I mean, you're going to use a different quality for different ballet probably too. I mean, except there is one main one. It's like footwork. I mean, be able to going through the feet, being able to have articulation. I find articulation is extremely, extremely important.
Could you tell the difference? I know that sounds strange, but as a woman, it's hard to know because I'm not being partnered. Can you feel the difference in a woman when you're partnering a woman who has better articulation than another woman?
Yes, you can, but I mean the main thing with when you partner, it's to help your ballerina to achieve what she can do the best. So there is a lot of tricks that you can help to going through the foot. When you partner a ballerina, you always want her to be up. You help her every time to come down. Because I do believe I love seeing that articulation coming from the point going through the feet and with the heel pushing forward.
Well, you also had beautiful articulation.
Yeah, I enjoy that. I mean, I worked with Peter Schalfuss for so long, and that was something really important. We did like 55 tenders at the bar, but at the end of the day, this is also important because I do believe that it comes from the bottom to the top. So unless all this is the stability and articulation, it makes it much more difficult to be able to really dance well if you don't have that kind of work.
Do you have a feeling about today about whether there is, I don't know, I've spoken with several people who feel that maybe 10, 15, 20 years before, the articulation of dancers was better because because nowadays the focus is somewhere else. Do you?
Yeah, of course, because again, this is about refinement. This is about quality. This is not about quantity. And then unfortunately nowadays, most of ballet people are impressed by quantity, but quantity without quality, I find it completely obsolete. I find it boring. So, and I do believe there is one thing, point shoes. If you look at the shape of the point shoes right now, and I mean, there is point shoes, all those plastic point shoes, those new point shoes where you can absolutely, or you're on top of the shoe or down, and then you can balance for 3 hours, and then you've got the top of the shoe is that big. I don't find it particularly nice. Yeah. And then I believe it's impairing you to actually have a good footwork because you cannot articulate the foot on those shoes. So, and just visually, I find it disturbing sometimes because, you know, there is something, I find that all extremities when you dance are very important. The finger are important, the toes are important. So if you're not able to use them to the full maximum, to the full possibility, I just find I always miss something.
Yeah, I agree. I know exactly what you mean. As a director and as a teacher, are there some words of wisdom that you could give to young dancers of today about future dancers, about their point work and about their technique?
I mean, I just want to emphasize, of course, this is not an end in itself. You know, there is so many other things that you've got to work. But, you know, footwork, again, it's a way to express yourself. To, you know, ballet dancers, we express ourselves through our bodies, and we express with the entire body. So the footwork, especially in ballet, because everything is based on those 5 positions, and then on the purity of the work. What I like, I love pureness of technique, you know. It needs to be organized. So it's just to give them an insight. I mean, you cannot do it for them. It's just to help them to understand that quality. And depending how you're going to use your feet, you're going to talk with them. Depending if you do a different ballet, you're going to use your feet differently too. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't want to make a point that it's only the footwork, but, you know, unfortunately, I find footwork a really important part of the ballet technique.
I had very interesting interviews with 2 ballerinas, you know, Bridget Zaire and Desiree Ballantyne. And with both ladies, we were talking about children doing point too young. And me personally, as a teacher, they talked from their point of view and their experience growing up. And I talked from a teaching point of view that I believe, also because I'm a mother, that a 5-year-old should not be on point. I believe even a 9-year-old should not be on point. I think that children need to mature as children. And I think there is a proper age when the bones are solidified in the feet and where the muscles are strong enough to hold the body, that children are ready to go on point. And they were saying that more and more we see on Instagram 9-year-olds doing Don Q variation or a whole variation on point, and we find it quite shocking. Is it also shocking?
I've been very, very clear. I mean, in 10 years as a director of SanFrancisco Ballet School, I've always been very, very clear on that topic. I just find it, I mean, there is few things. I find it's cheapened the art form. And, you know, point shoes, I mean, I do believe that in ballet, it cannot be on a certain age you're doing point shoes, because all human beings are developing as a different time and speed. So you need to have your body ready to be on point shoes, and it can be different. It could be 10, it could be 11, it could be 12. But the problem is, like, when you've got a private school, and when you, like my mother used to do, she could create space for the kids who were already ready to start a little bit of point shoes and not. In a school like me, you know, because it's you know, I've got level 4, they're all the same age, and they all need to go on point at the same time. So I'd rather them to start a little bit later, and not to have some people not ready to go on point starting point shoes, which I find is detrimental, and just create a nest of injury which is going to happen later in their career.
Yeah, and it's
but
really
again, we're a society. We're a society. We want things now and quick. You know, so it's people want everything ready, and then. But there is work to be done. There is time to be taking. There is so many other things that you've got to approach it a different way. But it's difficult. I've been trying my best to do this, but you know, we always got that pressure that people wants to do now. But you know, career is not long, I know, but you know, you've got to plan it the right way if you want to have the longest career you can have.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. This year, I had the really nice opportunity to teach 4-point in the San Francisco Ballet School on invitation from you. And I would just like to, if you could say what your feelings were about it, and just tell the viewers how you see it.
Alors, what I need to say first, it's like, any technique or training is great. And it's going to be great if the person bringing that approach and that technique is going to be that you can refer to. The way you taught those kids, not only it was so interesting to see because it was really, we can talk about injury prevention, alignment of the bones, strengthening and everything, but too, the way you taught was, it seems to be a pleasure. I could see all my students, all those level 8 that you had in that class, having really a fantastic time because not only they were discovering new things, and then the way you approach them, it was something that you made it actually a pleasure for them to work on something new. So I find it's always, when you transmit, it's not only to have the technical abilities, it's the way you transmit those new vision or that kind of training that you wanted to do. So for me, I've got to tell you that was beautiful to see. And it was absolutely vital for them. I think they understood quite a lot. And I mean, about strengthening, about alignment, about using your toes. So, but again, your training is as good as you transmit it. So, that's what I did, was amazing to look at.
As a director, and again, as a teacher, my viewpoint is that young dancers of today are facing really more and more difficult challenges in choreography that we didn't face in our generation. Because the repertoire was different, and contemporary choreographers of today are demanding more and more strange things on point, off point. And part of my concept with 4-point was to advance the normal point technique, to find ways to train muscles, to prevent injuries, and to make dancers have a better sensation in their feet and the floor to be able to deal with these choreographies. Do you also see that as?
Yeah, the fact of the floor is, is the floor is your best friend in ballet. So unless you're able to be really adapting to the floor and then using the floor to the best of your capacity, it's so important. And especially on those new choreography, where most of the time, ballet needs to be elevated, but everything is very grounded to the floor. So it's really, I find it really important how to approach the use of the floor. What you're going to do with it? Are you going to be able to resist from the floor? Are you going to be using the floor for the best of your capacities?
And do you, how do you see, because this is also a big topic today, more and more men are interested in training on point. And I don't mean necessarily for dancing female roles. I mean, because it seems also that choreographers are interested in having another element. In other words, they don't want to just have women on point, they want to have men on point. Do you also see this trend happening?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, but I mean, you always at ballet where men had to put point shoes. I mean, perhaps not as much as today, but I mean, you take Rudolph Cinderella, the mother is on point, and she's not doing anything like most nothing. She's actually dancing on point. He's dancing on full point and doing full step. So I don't remember anyone having, yeah, you can practice on point shoes, but I believe because of the male technique, the way it's produced, we've got the strength in the feet and then the legs to be able to support the point shoes. The only thing you've got is because of our weight, we're heavier than women. You need to have a lot of strength to survive. But yeah, after that, there is a people that wear point shoes just to develop their arch and then develop their footwork. I'm not that fan of, I do believe that men, if they've got to go on point shoes, they can go on point shoes without having the same training than women because of the difference of physicality. After that, everybody can do whatever they want if they want to practice point shoes. But you know, I'm not. This is not my favorite part of the new world.
But it is
I
true what you
understand it, and I'm absolutely fine with it. But I mean, I don't see the point or for all men to take point class, unless, of course, if there is a special piece where you're going to be on point, yeah, they're going to need to take point class because they need to get used to it. If you're going to have to dance, you're going to have to take class on point just to get used to it. But I do believe that men, and that's what I've seen through the years, everybody that I know went on point, they didn't never had any problem. And you can look at those funny galas they do in Tokyo, and then you can see Manuel Legris or Jose Manuel Carreño, or those people, they went on point, but I doubt they've been practicing for like 6 years.
No,
So,
they just did
and
it.
they were quite impressive. So after that, it's all, I don't know. It's for me, it's a different thing. I mean, I'm not really.
Well, actually, what you said before, there have been. I mean, I think about John Neumeyer's Midsummer Night's Dream.
Fuck.
There's a role for one of the hand workers. She also dances on point. He dances on point as a she, and the sisters in some Cinderella and the mother in Cinderella. So there have been real roles created for men on point.
Yeah, what is it in the dream?
Yes,
Ashton dream?
the Azel, the donkey. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
the Tales of Beatrix Potter. There is one of is on point. So it's not. I don't find, because everything is new now. I mean, everything has been done in ballet, really, if you think about it. So after that is how we to approach, and then I don't know, if you want to go on point, go on point. I mean, I'm glad I've never been on point.
Well, thank you, Patrik. This has been thoroughly enjoyable and also very informative.
You're more than welcome. It's been a pleasure too.
So thank you. And to all my 4-point followers, I hope you enjoyed this interview, and bye for now. I'm going to stop recording.